Are we live? Oh, hello. I didn't know you were watching me. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Hey, Liquid Drax, what's up? Perfect time. I just got my baked ziti out of the oven. Ooh, baked ziti? That sounds good. Because I'm Italian. I'm pretty sure I've made baked ziti before. It's probably been a while. I had, right before this, I had, some grocery store sushi and some homemade miso soup. That was my dinner tonight. Hey Lee, what's up? How's it going? Glad to see everyone be back. I think we should have a fun stream. I haven't done one of these like tier list things in a bit, but I think it should be fun. Additionally, guess we can jump on. Oh, okay, cool. That pops up. I started a goal thing again. It's been a bit. Um, for a Volume 6 OCG anti-meta win deck profile. And the reason why it's a goal for it because Japanese cards are expensive. And that deck requires some OCG cards. Gundam and got back into watching Gundam. I never watched Gundam. That's not. I did technically, like growing up, there was a Gundam show. I think it was like Gundam SD or something. Yeah, they were like chibi Gundams. I think it was like a CG show. But I've never seen any like the normal Gundam stuff or any like the Gundam lore or any of that stuff. But it looks cool. I mean, giant robots. Can't beat giant robots. This is bugging me. This is where I go to display capture. Trim this a little bit. Yeah, roughly, vaguely. Being like real OCD about this. Gundam Wing and Gundam 2000. Is it raining outside? It's hearing drops. Yeah, I don't know where like Gundam Wing and Gundam. I assume that's Gun. Is that Gundam 2000 or just Gundam like Double O, like James Bond? It's like a Double O agent. Yeah, because it was never Gundam was never really on aside from that one show that I can recall, at least on like Toonami, where like, I primarily would like watch the animes and whatnot. It was like either like Toonami or Adult Swim were like the two sources, generally speaking. Double O. Okay. Kind of made me think of the in the Orichalcos arc was Valor Valen, the guy who had like the suit of armor cards. Duelist Cup is that Master Duel? I don't play Master Duel, so if it is Master Duel, I don't know. But I got okay. Gotta respect the grind. Yeah, I remember when Master Duel came out, people were like, "Oh, you should play Master Duel or like stream it or do some video about it." And I was like, "Well, everyone else is doing it. I'm like the least likely person to have something like interesting about it." Because I usually when I do or play people online, it's on like Dueling Book. What's your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card name? Hey, what's up, Denatros? Card name. Hmm. Duel Links is a classic. Like a card just based off of the name. It'll probably have to be one that like either like sticks in my head or is just fun to say. Marie the Fallen One. Hmm. I do like BLS like Envoy because it's like Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. Like it's such a powerful name. or like Envoy the End, kind of similar, right? Chaos, Emperor, Dragon, like those three just words together are just such power words, and then you add Envoy of the End, it makes it like way more epic. Cybertick Alligator, Fiend Mega Cyber. I feel like there's got to be some like alliterations there too, for like some cards, like Sasuke Samurai. Zira the Mant, I kind of like too, because it's it's like a little name. It's like Zira the Mant, like he is the Mant. Yeah, Chaos Monsters. It's hard to think of just like as one specific name, but I feel like yeah, the one that goes to my head is like the Chaos stuff. I mean, Dark Arm Dragon is good because Dad. I feel like the thing with Dark Arm Dragon is that people say its name as just like that's the card, right? Dark Arm Dragon, not that it's a Dark Arm Dragon, or or it's like it's a dark or it's an arm dragon. It's just Dark Arm Dragon. Like it kind of transcends that dark. Can we think of the Dark Creator or Dark Nephthys or Dark Air Knight Parshath? You're like that's the dark counterpart, but Dad, you don't really think about that. I love that one because what even is a mant? I'm not. I feel like I've looked this up before. Because I don't think it's supposed to be like mantis or something like that. Because his Japanese name is just Zira. So they like added something. Mant may be derived from the word mantle, which is a term used for a long, loose cape-like cloak, which this monster is depicted wearing. I could believe that. So like Zera the fancy, I guess you could say, or like Zera the Emperor, Zera the King, that type of thing. Could be like an added name. I guess I thought Zera was too simple. But what do you think about it makes sense when it's just Zera? Because Warrior of Zera, like it's the warrior of like this dude, kind of in a way. Like this is Zera itself, like the unholy god creature thing. But the purple cape does stand out, so that is a possible thing. I mean, Zera the mantle sounds weird, right? Like Zera the cape. So they probably just shortened it to Zera the mant because it sounds just more unique, more interesting, right? And has some sort of like name to it. Yu-Gi-Oh! Dice Master set. Can I say I'm familiar? Like a Dungeon Dice Master thing? Hey, what's up, Gold Store? I haven't checked our stuff in ages. Hey, it's still here. Nothing has left. Pharmacy job can be silly and busy. Oh, I can imagine. I worked in a cardiologist for a little bit, so I vaguely know, like working in like medicinal stuff. It can get chaotic. Yeah, Dark General Freed, like all the dark stuff, kind of like it makes you think dark, but Dark Arm Dragon is one that you don't really think about as like a dark arm dragon. LOD has me split because I adore Struggle Chaos Mythological Age. That's cool cards that aren't spheres, but also brought in Yada. That's fair. Dice Masters is a dice card game. Box has some blind bags. That's different from Dungeon Dice Monsters. Ruin, the Queen of Oblivion. Oh, so there is. Dice Masters. When did this come out? 2015? Jeez. Is it any good? Yeah, Classic you got some interesting names because they wanted to either like keep them Japanese to make them sound more mysterious and unique, or they just had some like real weird translations. Some of it made sense, and others just like what were they thinking? I mean, they still have like fun names like nowadays still. Oh, nice! Congrats on that card game. I like to make a card game at some point. There was a little bit I was like taking notes on certain things for like card game design, but I never really like looked into it. Yeah, Kumutoko Spider Man. Yeah, there's some fun like Yu-Gi-Oh stuff designs. It depends like what specifically you're referring to. So I do, in regards to ranking this, um, I have made tier lists for like all the specific sets on their own. At one point, I wanted to design a card game specifically for video games, true Pokemon TCG, Pokemon Game Boy. Like design it as a video game. Okay, so basically, what I want to do with this tier list thing. So I have this. So I have these tier lists, and I kind of want to like take them and do like a percentage based thing, and like do it that way, and then we can judge how specific to that we want that to be. So let's say for LOB here, at what point do we want to cut off like the good and bad cards? I think that's the easiest way to like go about this. Right. So we can be like, hey, this is or whatever thickness. Let's get real dummy thick. No, I want dummy thick. Like we could say anything below this is bad, or like anything because I didn't organize LOB cards to like the F tiers like there was some of the later lists. Honestly, if there's anything dice related, I do wish there'd be more Dungeon Dice stuff out there available, like a reprint set. God forbid. It'll be as a huge early set syndrome. Yeah, that's what makes like, cause I can't just be like, oh, anything in like one tier and like keep that for every single set. And I'm not gonna go by like the card by cards again. That I do. I have had an idea of like an individual video, um, kind of looking at like every single card and giving it like a score and scoring like the set like regarding to that. That'd be a lot more work. So we'll see if I get around to that. But like looking at because the thing is with like LOBs, like some cards are kind of good like in a vacuum, like in their own unique ways, like depending on like a format. Hey, the Metal Raiders fusions had a really cool look to them, at the very least. Because I remember pulling a lot of fusions from that set too when MRD came out, but they still looked cool. That's what I really like about Metal Raiders. So I feel like with a set like this, you could argue that, even like in the B tier, stuff like, Aquamador and Skull Red Bird and like Yorubi, like they were good on release. Whereas some of like these other cards, like you may consider like a handful of them, right? Maybe like Sogen and Trial of Nightmare, maybe Final Flame. Technically the vanillas for like insuffusion stuff. But I feel like if we're having like a hard line of like good and bad for LOB, it would be like this, and then this you would generally consider bad cards, right? Because we're not just considering just stuff that are just on release. Because obviously we have like Skull Servant here. That's just what I'm thinking anyway. So how many cards is that? I wasn't thinking about counting all the cards. We could do it this way though. We just run Convulsion of Nature, a nice deck. And I mean, there's some Convulsion of Nature strategies. All right, so LOB has 126 cards. So let's see, 1, 2, 30. So that leaves us with 96 bad cards. Oh, there's a good place to put this. So, so we got 30 out of 96. AL Savic, what's up? Hot take LB is garbage. I mean, if you look at this, Shag was my first Ace Monster. Nice, nice. I mean, that's a pretty fun card for an Ace Monster because it gives you like a unique like graveyard thing. I mean, my Ace Monster back in the day was Mystical Knight of Jackal, which isn't a great card. So if we do like some Janjo math that I'm definitely terrible at, would it be 30 divided by 96? Is that how we want to? So we want to. What would be the best way to organize this all? I'm gonna open up like a new tab. Another hot take. ASC is some of the best artwork in old Yu-Gi-Oh. Love the MTX era transition period. Honestly, I've had this idea for a video for a while of like kind of talking more about the positives of GX because I feel like they don't get as much. But I do feel like GX is like, in terms of just Yu-Gi-Oh as a property, is like pretty wild. I think we want to organize this. I have like a whole list of ideas for videos that I may or may not get around to. The 4 S here spells easily makes it A tier. See, that's kind of like the hard thing is like, do you consider the weight of like you know, certain cards. It is getting windy out. Whoop, 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 whoop. Hey, Zacharoni and cheese. I haven't had math class in forever, so I'm trying to figure out this, like... 30, I think it's 30 divided by 126 times 100? It's what, 0.24? I don't know what I'm doing here. A rare hunter would be kind of fun. It is windy as sin. Maybe each set should have a multiple rating out of 5 and take the average. What do we consider like LOB out of 5? Like if we do like 30 divided by 126, we get like, if you round up, it's 0.24, which is pretty low. Because even if you consider like these cards in like the S tier, it's still like under the weight of all of this. Like going off of like percentages, I feel like because it's so low, like you're around like 30%, you know, good cards here. Like 30, somewhere between like the 28 to like 31% range. There is a percentage calculator. What is... Yeah, March 10th. It's like Mario. There's gotta be a way... What's the best way to, like, math this? I mean, I guess we can also just kind of go off of vibes. Yeah, we got Raigeki right here. S tier. S tier boy. Because, like, I want to rate on, like, overall, like, core set. Like, not... Like, I feel like card by card, kind of start splitting hairs. I think we just need to keep it simple. So, like, if we're grading this based off of, you know, like 100, you know, or like 90% plus. I think basically it'll be on the top of the list, people just because of the first set is iconic, actually slower half. Yeah, because cause I remember like pulling, like getting like an LB pack like in the store and just getting like all vanillas and being like, what is this? This is terrible. I was like, I feel like if we want to do something like, or we can be a little more generous, right? Maybe there's just no F tier. But like maybe this is how we grade it, right? Like 10, 30, 50, 70. Because if we do it this way, LOB would be like here-ish. Which, because I think it has like a good chunk of decent cards. It'd be like in the lower end because we're going like we could argue. I guess it depends on how you want to do the calculations, right? If we do, I guess theoretically it would be like the 30 out of 126, which would be like 0.24, which would be like in this range, which is not high, even though like the cards are good, but like all the sets have good cards. Even though Raigeki and Monster Born are from the set, like we get Change of Heart and like Imperial Order and Yatagarasu and Ring of Destruction, like all the other sets. I mean, we can always jump back to it. I do have the calculations written down. So let's look at Metal Raiders, and I don't remember why, but I guess we put Prevent Rat as Gods Among Men. But if we're being real, this is Prevent Rat is, like freaking D tier. I like editing like all of them. It is definitely raining right now, I tell you. But I'm glad we're all inside and watching some Janjo. And by the way, I do have a little goal down there. If y'all want to see a Volume 6 OCG deck profile for the anti-meta win deck, it's $30 for get there, so I can actually have the funds to afford some Japanese cards. There's a different way to rank sets for a meta impact upon release sorts. So like that's how I already like ranked the individual cards. Julius is by like cards that were good like when it came out and also like modern reasons. So I feel like at this point we got to take like the sum of its parts and just kind of like look at that. So if we're looking at Metal Raiders, I feel like it's kind of like of similar value where you could argue this is the line. Because I'm looking at the stuff in C tier, and there might be like, a couple cards that had like reasonable meta value, but that's not really. Maybe could argue Dream Clown. Eh, right. Like it's not really, like because we already talked about this in like in our card rankings for the set. Yeah, there's no Machine King art. There really should be something like makes machines stronger. Like there's a lot of machine support. I think we just got like prototype Machine King. That was it. So if we're not counting Prevent Rat, if we're being like objective here, and Metal Raiders has 144 cards in total. So we're looking at 1, 2. 33 out of 144. God, it has more than LOB somehow. Can you hear that rain out? Can you hear that rain outside? Is it just me? So we're looking at 0.23. All right, that's good. Let's get my mic that close. I remember Mechanical Chase from another vanilla having flavor text serving the Machine King. Yeah, there's like they could make they can absolutely make an archetype out of it. Like I don't see why not. Let me just recalculate LB real quick. So that was 0.24. Oh wow! So with my Janjo math, it is 1 point, like literally 1 point below LOB. If we get to the end and we realize that like all this is like messed up, we'll just like change the rankings. Like we'll just like make everything like ABC. Mechanical Chaser's a cool card. Like I could see that. Yeah, I could see that being like added in, and it was like Cyber Soldier of Dark Worlders or something like that. Or like Disc Commander, I don't know, something or other. And next we got MRL. MRIRL. Can you not tell me like how to use it every single time, please? Thank you. I feel like S tier should count as like 3 to 5 point each. Should be more accurate. I feel like even if we add like if we want to add 5 points for each. So this is just opening up like a bunch of it is. Alright, that's kind of nice. So if we want to add 5 points for each like S tier card, that could be reasonable. So if we want to add 20, now we're looking at 0.24 plus 20, 44. And then Metal Raiders 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Or like a 53. So that's what it looks like if we had like 5 points per S tier card. That's what we are dealing with. Which I do feel like it does like differentiate a little bit. I don't know how many have like S tiers. Because like I would argue Metal Raiders is a better set, just even based off of like uh the lower tier stuff. So if we take MRL, which for being objective here, Metalfish is D. He's Metal D Fish. He's from One Piece. And then Metal or Magic Ruler. Did I say Metal Raiders? Magic Raiders. Um, Here we're looking at 104 cards. Okay, now this is tricky. Like, where's the cutoff point for this? Again, this is before we added like an F tier. So, like, in theory, if you redid these like an F tier things in like C and D, would probably be like more diverse around. This is what Tomato and S tier. Look, Tomato searches like a lot out. Like, you can go back to like the stream, the ranking stream I did of this like 2 years ago or so, as to why, but like it's the best recruiter. Like, I don't remember what I said like 2 years ago. So, D tier is definitely bad, and like C tier, like there's a couple stuff, but like you probably you probably saw that. Like, I mean, I definitely saw people play this on release, or you might see Flash Assailant once in a blue moon in like treasure format, or similar to Hero Shadow Scouts, or in like just fun goat decks. I really try to make Amiibo work in like plant decks with like creature swap, but I just couldn't really get it. Technically, speed duels, this guy saw play. Like, there are certain things with like these decks, these stuff. Like, Two Mermaid technically isn't bad. And honestly, on paper, these could be worse. But it feels like a lot like Winmore stuff. I feel like if it was A tier, then the rating still work with this set. I mean, I'm not going to change around all these lists aside from like the meme stuff we did way back when. But I do plan on doing more tier lists for some of the GX sets. Because once we do this one, I do want to do a Series 4 one, but we do have to complete that because we stopped at Flaming Eternity. Yeah, I feel like this is another situation where it's probably like, if you're trying to be like as objective as possible, this is like the clear cut, like between good and bad. Also, just what a pretty set Magic Ruler is, right? So if we're looking at these cards, you got 1, 2, and also this is gonna bump the setup a lot too. But 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 18. 30. Similar amount of cards with all these 3 sets. As far as the old set it goes, MR has a bunch of fun art. Oh, it absolutely does. It's just a shame that a lot of it's terrible. Like I really like, like House of Adhesive Tape and like Fire Kraken and Performance of Sword and Kododama, High Tide Gyojin, Taiho #2. Like a lot of these cards have like really sick art. Okay, I'm gonna mark MRL down 30 out of 105. And with the Janjo Matho by 104, we get 0.29. But we got a plus, was it 9? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45? Yeah, yeah, wowie. So is this... So is this A tier of each card in each set? Yes. Subzoomer. Yes, Pharaoh's Servant. So this goes from... so international sets goes from LOB all the way through Ancient Sanctuary. So we won't do Soul of the Duelist, but we will do ASD. And we'll do like each list and then convert that into this list here. All right, so this is just, so I don't want to like mess up my math. 74. So we got this in A tier. Also, big thumbs up to, yeah, Two-Headed Thunder Dragon. Hell yeah. That's why I have it here. It's a cool card. Like, there's no reason for it. I just have it here. It's a sick card. And if you like Forbidden Memories, I have done a review on Forbidden Memories if you haven't seen that yet. So I haven't streamed it. I think that was my 30K sub special, was streaming that. I do want to do the 15 card mod at some point, but maybe that'll be like another stream goal. Thunder Dragon will win con from Stairway? Hell yeah. Yeah, if we ever do like redo like Eternal Duelist or something like that, we'll have to like play with Forbidden Memories style deck. Yeah. The making of Forbidden Memories. Yeah, that's one of my favorite videos. Yeah, that the vanilla version was rough. I got like maybe like midway through the game or so. I got my plays worth of it. But I feel like a 15 card mod. Honestly, I do kind of want there just be like a quality of life mod. I don't know if I can like talk to anyone who like does like FMR modding to like talk to someone about that. Cause like I don't want to play the ones that like adds new cards or anything like that, but just something that's a bit more reasonable, I think would be fun. Out of curiosity, when you researched that, did you find anything interesting about the music composers of the music game? No, I didn't. Unfortunately, not. Honestly, there's not much stuff like we really know. In terms of like the super specifics, because like a big chunk of it was like the developers were just struggling. Like they had the game done like way in advance, but they had to keep adding more stuff to it, and then there's like sensor boards and like new cards, and like they had like update things because what was fine for like early 98 wasn't good for late 99. And I mean the music's like top tier. I mean, if my Yu-Gi-Oh history series, I use FM music all the time. Like love that Free Duel. It's probably my favorite song, the Free Duel. Okay, let's so next is PSV. PS Vita. We got a good chunk of S tier here as well. Oh my god. Get away. Out of my way. I haven't seen Bloodsport in a long time. I'll have to rewatch that. Some Van Damme. Yeah, I have not watched that in quite some time. Apparently, composers are a fan of some of the older JRPGs. The track Egyptian Duel is basically tracks from the game Trials of Mana, almost note by note. Interesting. I have a big poster of Secret of Mana in my like main area in my apartment. I never really got into the game itself. I didn't really like the whole like action RPG like gameplay of that, but Trials of Mana I haven't played. Do you know which track specifically? Okay, so for this set, Pharaoh Servant, Weird Counterpart, and Damn Drum. All right, I'm gonna just plop this on my notepad thing to remember for later. I could definitely see them playing like the JRPGs and being inspired by that. There's 105 cards in this set. And feels like it's gonna be like a pretty similar thing here. I'm pretty sure I just grabbed these from like Tier Maker. I think only a couple of them I had to make. Because I think like LOB and stuff, there's some like weird arts too for like Red Eyes and whatnot. I do like this art though, like the pink like Takahashi art. I mean, they're both Takahashi, but you know what I mean, like the modernized Jinzo. Yeah, like I'm always learning new stuff about plenty of Yu-Gi-Oh related things. You know, like after I make videos about certain topics, which usually winds up being in like maybe another video or I know of it. Yeah, I like the classic art. I think that's my go-to, especially that secret rare Tinzo. Uh, yeah, I feel like this is also another case where it's pretty like clear cut between like Sab and CD. Because like I'm not gonna argue for like a good majority of these. I do think like Chain Destruction you could argue is a maybe belongs in B. Um, I think Life Force Sword is a little underrated in like early formats. Gray Robbery once in a blue moon, which is very sometimes seeing like Speed Duel. But I'm not going to argue like individual cards here, as I've mentioned before. So let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 17. We got 32, it looks like. A lot of traps. It's the trap set. Yeah, even got like the modern like Buster Blader art here too. Yeah, but PSV, as I said, that kind of grew on me a bit. All right, 32 out of 105 gives us 0.30. So if we're going by traditional value, this is the first C tier set. Barely, barely. Yeah, Morphine Jar 2. I actually picked up a playset of the Core Century Rares of Morphine Jar 2. It also reminds me I need to get a playset of Hollow Call the Haunted because I apparently only have commons. I don't know. I do have one. Like I have one PSV. I guess technically two PSV copies, but I have one's for my collection. The other one's like for play. So I need to get more of these. Is the bottom line. So that was 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Yeah, I don't remember why exactly we had magical hats there. Again, you might have to refer to like that stream, a live stream we did. Um, I think it's probably something about like the possibilities that could like arise from it of just like taking like anything from the deck. Because yeah, like this was done like again years ago. Like I would probably put Chain Destruction, like especially after in the history of my history of Goat format series, I would probably throw this up here. But essentially, if we're throwing this and we're throwing this down, we're kind of back at the same endpoint. So that's a flat 70 we got there, which would let me jot this down too for the other sets. Like the full numbers. And I'll probably pin like after the stream, like in the comments, the rough maths. So 53, and then it's 44. Okay, so PSV would be below Magic Ruler by 4 points. Put Gravity Bind in S. I wouldn't put Gravity Bind in S because you don't see it like all the time. Like honestly, if you put like any in S tier, it might be like maybe a Ceasefire or like a Knock or like a Dust Tornado. Like if we had to bump like any up, that is. This is considering historic formats, and yeah. So the tier lists that we did back were based off of like kind of like all encompassing. Like it was good, but like not every stun deck also played Gravity Bind. Like some only play like certain ones. And like it's in A tier, so it's clearly like but like compared to like these cards, right? Like you could argue maybe Time Seal should get dropped. Maybe in like some realm, maybe like a Jar 2, but I feel like these have kind of a bigger like notoriety at the very least in like Gravity Bind, where it probably has like a similar level to like Gaff and Knock. All right, let's jump to LON, I believe is next. Labyrinth of the Nightmare. Kind of have to keep it relatively moving. Try and get done within like 2 hours. And because I want to remind people every half hour, dono goal down below for a very spicy deck profile. If you want to see more deck profiles, especially if like the OCG stuff, consider donating. Also helps the channel out. Yeah, so for this, I had Destiny Board like under its own thing because Destiny Board is kind of like its own thing. So like, how do we want to like rule Destiny Board? And also realize you can't really see it. Like, how do we want to rule that card? Hey, Astroya. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Thank you for the $5 dono. You are the man. and I don't know if this will update automatically. I would rank Destiny board where it should go and measure with it. Yeah, like all this stuff is like together. Like everything would go as like a package. And I feel like if we're being honest, I would probably place it in like I would say C tier. I hate that I can't just like automatically like update this thing. Can I add like a quick text thing on here? Bam. Can't even tell it's different. Fire Princess should be a B. The thing with Fire Princess is that like while it did have its time, and also I should also mention that this is also referring to the TCG and not like speed duels or OCGs. But Fire Princess, like even if you consider the OCG stuff, it still had a lot of like issues like with its own deck. Yeah, Last Warrior also another card that like it's like oddly balanced because it has like a really good effect, but it's kind of a pain to get out. Like I could definitely see a world where some card comes out and just breaks it. You know, but like a lot of these cards, you know, like let's say these cards, like might see some side deck play, but that's kind of roughly it. Like at least Aqua Spirit and like these things are like good for like special summonable cards that can help make use of like attribute decks in more a way than like certain other like let's say like the field spells could, the attribute boosters, where they can because you actually have seen because Aqua Spirit has made its presence in I believe it's the Kairushin deck in like modernish times, like the early 2000s. So like if anything, Aqua Spirit like has seen like some level of, if not like high tier tournament play, but like rogue tier tournament play. Like I don't remember what some of these cards even freaking do. Again, like this is all stuff that like we talked about way back when. But that said, honestly, I don't know where the cutoff should be for this one. Because like you could make the argument of like here of like good and bad cards. When you consider stuff like Gilasaurus, like yeah, Revival Jam, Earthbound Spirit's like pretty bad, but even stuff like Mask Brutality could use some of these cards. You could use. But I could still see the argument of like if you want to keep it at least consistent with like how we've been like grading this kind of stuff. I don't know what you all are feeling. Curemay wasn't barely like even in the Cure Burn deck, it wasn't. Cure Burn's a weird deck, basically. Because I remember like years ago, like probably like 2020 or so, I was in I think it was like Android tournament deck or something like that. I was playing Fire Princess Burn, and like I'm pretty sure I like hard drew into Marie every single game. It was brutal. Now, that's just my luck, horrible luck. feel like I should move this thing like over here. Maybe make it black. Where did I change the color on this thing? There we go. Yeah, so this one's kind of a little bit of, because like I think spiritualism's like decent. I think Gila, like I think in a vacuum you could argue like these. I would probably argue that's like roughly it if you want to be like generous and say like, you know, these cards could be considered good, like comparatively. Dark Door. People don't play Dark Door. At least like I've never seen anyone play Dark Door. You know, because we did see Brutality in like a Ben KOT deck for like Goat kind of recently. I think you could run like Amphibian Beast in something, and these cards you could run in like something. You know, maybe Marie. Yeah, but like the formats were so aggressive, like by this point, when you had like Gemini Elf and Kaiku and all that kind of stuff. Maybe Diffusion, depending on like if you're playing some really, like these are like jank cards, like these. I know this is like in like a Pixie deck. I suppose you really want to play Cure Mermaid and so like I'm trying to think of like in the most like fringe situations, like cards you might be able to see. But like all the other cards, right? Like if we had an F tier, like a chunk of this probably be an F tier, and then like half of this would be in like a D tier. But is that enough to like raise it up? Is the big question here. Actually, can I add a background to this thing? I can. Aha, wait a minute. I think I solved this. I think I solved this. It looks janky. There we go. Seems appropriate. B should be where the line is drawn. I think it's correct. Yeah, we should probably not overthink everything. At least keep it consistent up to when we start changing it. That said, LON has 105 cards. Because we do have a lot of sets, and I feel like we're underestimating my time that I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26. It's not a ton. Same amount as a PSV. Funnily enough. $105 is 0.25. Well, not that high, but we can add 15 with the S tier cards. for be 40. So pretty low. Which I guess makes sense. It's kind of considered like a fairly weak set, all things considered. And that would put it below LOB. That's right, because LOB would be, yeah, so it would be like this. I think that's also kind of fair because like the cards you would see from this set, like reasonably like competitively, like eventually you'd see card safe return and like TT, and like these, and then these. I guess spellbooks had this. At the time you saw this, like it's kind of about it, honestly, which is not much, and even that's like the amount of these you actually saw like in play past the formats would have been, in terms of stuff that actually has like longevity, would be like 5 cards, arguably, to like some degree. So that I think that's fair. That is Janjo fair. Janjo fair Joe. Oh, we did actually create an F1. I'm looking at it. It didn't really move much. I think we just separated the D tier. I forgot we made this. But yeah, it's still, we just took some D's tier stuff and moved it down. So like everything that's in C is still in C. Ah, get that out of here. All right, LOD. This one we had like a full-fledged F tier. And boy, some of those F tier stuff. Yeah, I pretty have similar feelings. I mean, there's a lot of S tier cards in this. Honestly, I'm a little surprised you put Smoke Grenade in S tier. I feel like I feel like some of these I have to go like rewatch the stream. Like, yeah, some of these cards you could theoretically like say slightly better than others. Yeah. I think Throw Swing is actually kind of fun. Maybe in like a weird vacuum Sousa Soldier. Or like Spear Dragon. Honestly, I would probably put Spear Dragon in B. Samping Destruction. But I should not. Like I said before, I'm not gonna. It's too late for me to change these as they are. I feel like one card is gonna like make or break it. Because like, again, like also keep like when we made these, it wasn't just me like throwing them, right? Like people were in the streams talking and stuff, and a lot of discussions around like certain cards and things. So like, yeah, sure, I'd probably put this down here, and I probably would like put this up here, but I'm sure there is a reason for everything. This would probably go down. But like basically, like yeah, like one thing might replace another thing. I think that's what some of these cards kind of feel like. So like if in terms of us just dictating the set as a whole, it's it's like minor detail stuff. But I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to what y'all saying. By the way, certainly not. Let's see. LOD 101. Not a big set. Not a big set. So yeah, if we keep this line, got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Like the lower cards like might even it out like compare at least comparatively to like the other sets. It has two more and less cards than LON. So I guess take that for what it's worth. Which makes it a 0.28. Almost as high as MRL, actually. But this is plus 5, 10, 15, 25, 30, 35, 40. I feel like we had Smoke Grenade just because of like what it does. And it's like use like in like a gear free deck. That's probably why it's there. It's a grand total of 68. 68. Which would actually put it right below PSV. Maybe because it's on the ban list in the future. I'm pretty sure anything that was actually, now that you say that, Julius, I want to say that was what we did. I think anything that was on the ban list like got an immediate S tier. I sound like a broken record, but I'm sure if you went back to the stream, I'd probably mention something like that. If not in like that stream, maybe like something earlier. Because like also if we judge everything by like on a pure card basis and like with the OCG and speed duels, things would be different. We probably should do like a speed duel ranking thing, but I kind of want to do that history of speed duel series I wanted to do for a while first before I do like more like specific speed duel like ranking stuff. But generally this is looking pretty good. I don't think we'll need a D tier. In all honesty. I feel like if we don't get that with like LOB or like LON, I think we'll be in good hands. And then we have Pharaonic Guardian, one of my favorite sets. Actually, I would argue it's my favorite set. Up there with Metal Raiders. In fact, I did do a video on my favorite sets. I'm pretty sure I had this as like my favorite. Shuop. Oh, geez. Oh, scared the I don't know if you heard that. Like something, the thing fell, and I know what it was like a piece of like aluminum, and it was loud, and it scared the crap out of me. Oh, oh my gosh, I was not prepared for that. Yeah, this set's really cool. And even though I do like stuff like Gravekeeper's Chief, why isn't this dummy thick? I do like stuff like Gravekeeper's Chief and Miss One Eye Jackal's my boy and Dimension and this thing. Technically, this saw play in like GOAT format for like a little bit, and but it's all a lot. It's like it's still pretty like cruddy. Also, hope everyone's having a good night. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves, vibing out. And if you're enjoying the stream, consider giving a like and stuff because YouTube likes engagement, like any sort of engagement. YouTube is like, that's cool. I dig that. Actually, this stream idea, I was actually originally thinking about doing this as like an edited video, but so I make it a stream so I can talk to everyone while I'm doing it. So fun fact. So we're getting this instead of an edited video. But maybe we'll get an edited video from a Pac-Man player. Yeah, I do like Pac-Man. Honestly, I do wish these cards, like all the Pac-Man stuff, mainly Desolacuda. I think I mentioned this last year in my like Patreon reprint wishlist video, which every year for my Patreon I do like a reprint wishlist. I don't know if it was this year or last year, but I did mention Desolacuda. I think should get like a higher rarity. I think it's kind of a shame. Like none of those cards do. Because there's nothing like really ties any of those cards together. Right? Like, yeah, like we tied them together via the Pac-Man like fun name. You know, munching all noobs, but uh there's not really like an archetype. Like there's Swarm, but it's just like by name alone, basically. 108 cards in Pharaonic Guardian. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. A lot of cards. Holy shit! Hold on a second. 37. Wow. Not bad. 37 out of 108. Well, slightly higher count than every set since Metal Raiders. I guess point 34, highest so far. Plus 20, not as much S tier cards, unfortunately. But that makes it 54. Which does affect the overall impact. So with a 54, that will put it 1 point above Metal Raiders. If we can. 1 point. Metal Raiders is a 53. That shows how close that is. So that's kind of funny. So it kind of shows that despite there being more, I would say like more good cards, comparatively, just the level of like amazing cards is a little bit lower, and so that kind of like helps even it out, which I suppose is fair. Because there are still a lot of bad cards in this set, like a lot of weird cards. Like the deck was, or the set was definitely criticized like on release, and some of the cards didn't really get like praised like a little bit later. Like it's not like you saw people play like Reversal Quiz right away. And cards like Book of Moon is like, really good, and Spy and Spirit Reaper, but interesting. Yeah, Metal Raiders is my second favorite set. Hey, Lid Lover, Fushio Richie. Shoutouts to the Top Deck guys stream that I did a while back, where Yugioh from Zero and I went through a vague history of zombie decks, and I think the first one we played was a Fushio Richie mirror in Yada format, I believe. So if you want to see more Fushio Richie, check that out. Not a good card. Should get a retrain, honestly. Like I kind of want to see like a one of those like generic zombie retrains of it that you see in like just a zombie deck, like a a Necro World Richie or something. That would be fun. Maximum Richie Rich. Okay, so next is Magician's Force. Yeah. The MFC. The Mickey D's. And this has also 108 cards. Interesting. This might be the worst set. I'm just looking at it right now. I'm just saying how it is. Hope you're doing well, Lid Lover. Happy to see everyone I normally see back in the stream. Yeah, Magician's Force is kind of poo poo caca. Like, yeah, you might be able to argue like a couple of these cards might should be moved up. Maybe like Big Bang, maybe Cliff, maybe Old Vindictive. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Dark Magician Girl cited. It's not the overframe, sadly. Sadly, it's not. But this will probably be a quick one. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, this is gonna hurt. But I mean, it does have more S tier cards than Pharaoh's Servant, so I'm gonna hold all judgment. All right, so this gets a oof. Let's see. MFC gets 18 out of 108. Magical Sciences and Kaiser Coliseum are a Z tier. I could see a world where Kaiser Coliseum comes back. Probably not Magical Scientist, just because it enables so much, especially as the game gets more, still continues to get like vanillas. Dark Magician, look, Dark Magician Girl is a waifu. Terrible card. Historically terrible card. It does have support. You could potentially see it like in a Dark Magician deck, but it's not good like on its own. So 0.17, very low. As much as I love Dark Magician Girl, and I do have a Magician's Force copy of it. I did spend the money on that. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Which makes its final score 47. So with 47, that will put it right above LOB. Interesting. I guess because like LOB only had like a couple S and A tiers. Imagine Magic Sciences Retrain. I mean, there technically is not monsters, but like, there's Ready Fusion. That's kind of like a play on that, and like Insta Fusion. There's that other like there's that trap card. What was that card? Like, I know where like Ready Fusion is in its fusion. Like they're kind of magical scientists, like retrains in a sense. What am I thinking of? Fusion duplication. I guess like the card's like in arts of stuff, but Ready Fusion is like the kind of like retrain in a way. But yeah, when that brings out links would be like busted for sure. Yeah, most surprised is this beat out LOB, but I guess if you look at the LOB one again. Yeah, I think a chunk of it is just because like it doesn't have as many like S tier cards, right? Compared because this has at least 2 more, and that probably helped like boost it up. Because this has more like in a smaller set, But I guess the the equalizer are S tier related cards. That's a little interesting though. Like I feel like it would be weird if it was above like Metal Raiders. Close out my initial tab. And by the way, if anyone wants to see a Volume 6 anti-meta OCG, anti-meta win deck profile, I have a little stream goal, as you can see down there. $30, and then I'll make the video. I'll buy the cards, and I'll make the video, and y'all will get an extra video. But that's, it's only if it's, funded, of course. But it'd be pretty exciting, though. It's a pretty spicy deck, one that I created myself. And we're currently $5 in that goal, so we need 25 more to reach that goal. And hope we reach it. All right, so next up is Dark Crisis. Dark Crisis. Fairly big set from the looks of things. And this has 106 cards. Wow. A lot of bad cards in this one. Is this the first one that doesn't use just like the art? That's probably why it looks weird. So let's draw this hard line here. 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I always consider like Dark Crisis like kind of a bad set. But I don't know, what do you all think at home think of Dark Crisis? It's good, it's bad, is it underrated? Is it aesthetically a good or bad set, potentially? I think aesthetically it's really cool. I really like the aesthetic of Dark Crisis. I think because I think that's why I had it on like my top 5 like favorite sets. But I think in retrospect, like think about some other sets, I would swap it out with like something else. Exodia all the way bottom. Hey, that's Exodia Necros. And hey, last week we gave him some good support for speed duels, so we give him respect when it's due. 0.22. So not very high. It's a plus 20 for the S tier cards. Skill Drain, Butterfly Dagger, Elma, DD, Warrior Lady, and Tsukuyomi. For a 42, I'm actually surprised that so far all of these totals have been different. There's been no tie so far. So 42 will put it above LON by 2 points. And yeah, just above LON. Dark Crisis was a D when I did this with my friends. Understandable. I think if you're like, again, if you're going by like the card by cards, you would probably have like a different number. But we're just doing this based off just like the set as a whole. I would like to do like a card by card one at some point, but that might be better for like an edited video just because I feel like it would take forever, right? Because you would look at like every single card and give that like a score. I think like if you want like a true to form ranking, right? Yeah, you would have to have each one. Yeah, we can definitely adjust this for sure. But yeah, if you want like a true to form ranking, you would have to like rank every single card, and give them like, or like almost like review every single card, right? And give them like a star rating, like out of 5 or 10 or whatever. right? You have to have points for longevity. Um, like, did it see competitive play? Is it a considerable card? If you want to be kind of crazy, like, does it have cool art? And then like, yeah, like if you want to base off of like you have your you would have your own kind of things to like score it off of. But judging from this, it seems like nothing really goes under like 40, so we could do like 40, 50, 60, 70. And like we can adjust as needed because the only one that has there's only two that have 70, and it's these two. And then Magician's Metal Raiders is 53. And so these are all in the 40s, these are all in the 50s, 60s, 70s. This is currently if we're so now we have better like idea, right, of like the range we're looking at. What are your top 3 fave cards of all time? Let me actually Yubel, Diamok, and Exodia. I mean, those are pretty good. Like, Exodia the Forbidden one, or like a specific. $10 months ago, I'll post this here. I did a video on my favorite cards. A few years ago, so and actually recently, I did recently-ish, I did actually pick up the final of my missing favorite cards, like in physical form, which is the expensive one. Well, one of the expensive ones on there, which I have in a binder. Okay, next we got Invasion of Chaos. This one might be pretty high because I think this is one of like the craziest sets. Now IOC has 112 cards. It's always nice because I've been doing videos for like Yu-Gi-Oh videos for like 6 years now. It's always nice that I have enough backlog where a lot of times people ask me for something. I'm like, oh, actually, I've done this before. I have a backlog. It's fun. And then it's funny because I look at like my ideas list and just like how much stuff like I would want to do still. Like I have too many ideas. I'm probably never getting around to like half of them. Spirit Reaper for effect, Spore for the art, toss between Flame Swordsman and Guilty of the Knight. Personal history. Do you like the Flame Swordsman Guilty like retrains? I did pick up a playset of I believe super rare spores, maybe like a month or two ago. Because I was like, whoa, these are cheap. I should pick some up. Spirit Reaper is really cool as well. I also really like Reaper on the Nightmare, and I wish it was just better. I wish I saw more play. Because I love Pharaonic Guardian a lot. So I feel like I always have this thing here, and it's never like in view. There. Yeah, it's amazing what cards have just like a good pop on like the hollow foil compared to like other cards. Like that's why certain things like alties and secret rares, it's not just like a flat like I like this rarity, right? It really depends on the card or even like the era it came out on. And I do plan on doing a favorite rarity video soon, actually. So I'll have to, I have a lot to discuss about that. But for this, ooh, a lot of cards here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 14, 21, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Bam. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Suffragette City. I love how everything looked during the raw Mega Yellow packs. I really like the Legendary Collection Yugi's World. Like those, like prints specifically. Here's kind of a question. With Chaos Origins coming out, and they're including like the old school like layout for cards, do you think they're going to get like a special name? And if so, what would they be called? Because I feel like they should, right? Like I don't know, because I looked it up. There's nothing about like it's just there's some people saying oh they include the classic layouts, but nothing from Konami talking about like hey they're chaos rares or your like Yami rares or like they're just classic rares or something, right? Because that's the thing I was saying about like my favorite rarities is that if someone asks you your favorite rarities, would you consider Prince in that umbrella? Classic over chocolate rare. Chocolate rare. Honestly, like one rarity I thought would be cool would be like burnt and frost rares, right? They have like a special like frost around the borders or like a burn thing around the borders. I think that would be cool, if you ask me. Okay, let's see. 37 divided by 112. It's 0.33 flat. Yeah, I can already tell this is going to be freaking high. Then 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Ooh, yeah, this is going to be high. This is going to be high. 68. Huh. Interesting. It's not the highest. It's right below PSV. Actually, it's tied for LOD. Really? Really? I guess because there's like just like a lot of bad cards in this set. How do we deal with a tiebreaker? Do we just go off of vibes? Because I feel like if we're just going off of like impact stuff, like this is definitely above LOD. I feel like in a case like that, it has to be like, how do we ultimately decide? But yeah, I would have thought that would have been like top. Because if we look at like Magician's Force, which is the current highest at, or not Magician's Force, a Magic Ruler, sitting at a 74. I think it's because of just like all the S tier cards. I think S tier is really like make or break it. And I guess it's hard to argue with like some of these stuff. You got the Sacred Treasures, Painful Choice, Cyberjar, Snatch, Steal. So that's kind of crazy. And then Pharaoh's Servant. I guess, yeah, I guess in similar fashion, it's just a lot of S tier cards. And like not as much junk compared to IOC having a lot more junk. That's interesting. Not what I would have thought going in. But it's good that we learn new things here on the Janjo Zone. Yeah, longevity wise, I mean, I would definitely have IOC over Legacy of Darkness if we're going off of like tiebreaker stats. And then last but not least, we have the final of the international sets, Ancient Sanctuary, which always felt weird to me just because IOC felt like such a climactic set, and then you have this set which kind of feels like the after party. Even though, it has its own like unique aesthetics and whatnot. So this set has 112, also 112 cards. A good chunk of S tiers. A good chunk of junk as well, so this one might not be as high. Let me try and get everything in view here. There we go. All right, so let's count this then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Not a ton. I wish I had one of those desk calculators that like tax people use. King of Swamp. No. Okay, so I also do need to mention for those wondering as well. These rankings, the individual set rankings, like the card by card, is not by like specifically card by card. It's just like S, A, B, C. Giving B A tiers 2 points to 3 to add a weight. I mean, I feel like it seems to be a decent spread. I mean, we're not trying to like necessarily add a spread, but it's just, in this ranking, we are like ranking like specifically by the sets. Let's see, 22 divided by, we get 0.20 plus 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. He's like arbitrary. I mean, King's Bombs is really good though. Like, you can still see play in, like casual deck, like a ton of casual decks. So it's a 55 is its total, which would put it. Let's see, Front Guard is 54, so it's just above Pharaonic Guardian. Bam. So this is what we're looking at. Which I think is honestly pretty good spread in terms of just 40 through 70% stuff. And you could call whatever tier you want, like, it's S tiers, we could call it whatever. If you wanted to be like A, B, C, D, do what you want. But worst set, we have Labyrinth of Nightmare, then Dark Crisis, then Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, then Magician's Force. Then moving up a tier, 50%, we have Metal Raiders, Pharaonic Guardian, Ancient Sanctuary. Then moving up to A tier, we have Labyrinth of Nightmare. Or Legacy of Darkness, excuse me. Moving up to A tier, we have Legacy of Darkness, Invasion of Chaos. The only two that are tied, by the way. And then S tier, which is 70%. Plus, we have Pharaoh's Servant and Magic Ruler. So, honestly, it's different than what I expected it to be. I expected probably LB and Dark Crisis to be like on like the probably like towards the bottom, like I guess more so than Labyrinth of Nightmare. I expected IOC to be higher, maybe Metal Raiders somewhere more in the middle, maybe Pharaonic Guardian. I mean, I guess like relatively speaking, it's kind of around where I expected them. Like obviously, if you want to organize them by like sheer points without considering plussing for like S tier stuff, but weight of cards I think are ultimately are important instead of just looking at a flat value. Um, I'll probably post like all the rough math stuff. Of course, if you think anything's like wrong or could be changed or what, when this is stream is done, comment below and whatnot. But I think next time we're gonna do the series 4 sets, which would be starting. We did like technically start it right with we did Soul Duels, Rise of Destiny, Flame Eternity. So the next one that we have to do is the Lost Millennium. So next week we might be doing the Lost Millennium if that's something y'all would like to see. But let me save this. I don't know if I'll post it like right tonight or probably tomorrow at some point. But yeah, I think this will be it for this. We accomplished the goal within a good amount of time. I think this is really fun. I really like just looking at the sets and seeing what they have to offer. And thank you all for joining and helping me out solve this mystery of sorts. Until I see you all next week, I have a video on my Patreon right now that will be up on Sunday. Which will be Yu-Gi-Oh! CG Thousand Eyes Bible. It's very exciting stuff. And got a lot of cool stuff afterwards. So, until then, I'll see you all next time, and have a wonderful day.